Good morning, Niner fans. How are we feeling on this beautiful Thursday morning? The 49ers, they've been giving us some irritating news updates over the last couple of months, if we're being honest, with the whole dramatic contract situation with Brandon Ayuk and now Trent Williams. But you know what? Today, there was some really good news, and it's refreshing to hear. Yesterday, Kyle Shanahan was on the radio on KMBR, and he kind of hinted that Dominick Puni is starting offensive lineman. Today, John Lynch confirmed that notion, stating that he's really earned that position to this point. They were talking about Brock Purdy, playing behind the backup offensive lineman. And, John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan basically said that's not true. They weren't playing behind the backup lineman. They were playing, with the starting offensive line. So Brock Purdy, when he was out there in the preseason, he was basically playing behind the starters minus Trent Williams. Now, a little bit of pushback on that in terms of if that's your starting line, we'll be running for our life. But, Trent Williams makes a big difference. Obviously, Aaron Banks wasn't in there because he broke the pinky. So it's not the full starting line. But it is good to know that Dominick Puni is a starting offensive lineman on this team. He's earned it. He's come into camp and he's crushed the training camp. He got rave reviews in training camp, which we all saw if you were there. Look good. Preseason, this guy has been dominating, putting really good film out there. I mean, you see it. You watch it on a weekly basis so far. You've seen the film breakdowns. This man is standing up and just making defenders look silly. He played against Cam Jordan, and he stood him up. I mean, there was the pirouette move he had, where he takes the lineman, he pirouettes around, and he still blocks him after McKivitz, let the guy go around. It was amazing. The spin move, he didn't let up on the spin move. Just a very, very good young lineman. Is promising. They drafted him mid-round out of Kansas, and he looks like they might have hit on an offensive lineman. So congratulations to Dominick Puni. It appears that he has won the starting right guard position. It's a matter of sometimes you get an opportunity and you make the most of that opportunity. Spencer Burford, he went down with injury. John Feliciano, he was out with injury, and now he's got to have knee surgery. So those issues, unfortunately for them, they're going to miss some time, or they have missed some time. And fortunately for Dominick Puni, he took that opportunity and he made the most of it. And that right there is how you take advantage of any type of moment, or, seize the day, seize the opportunity. And that's exactly what Puni did. And if you guys remember that brick by brick video last week, and they showed a video of Puni, when he's joining the team, he says, I'm going to make every moment count. He truly has. He truly has. So, it's tough for Burford. He broke his hand. He didn't really get to compete. But Dominick Puni, man, you're given the opportunity and you run with it. And that is exactly what he did. So congratulations to Dominick Puni, man. Happy for the guy. I'm happy for the guy. JR3 says, so far, this is looking like a really good draft class. Can have multiple starters. Absolutely. I mean, Dominick Puni, another guy, right, that's been just so good on this offensive line, right? He's a rookie. Renardo Green, I mean, he's gotten rave reviews. We've seen so much, growth out of Renardo Green during this training camp to preseason. Jacob Cowing, the guy played one game the other day, and we're sitting there going, oh, okay. Dominick Puni, Renardo Green, Jacob Cowing, they all look fantastic. Malik Mustafa has looked good. Tatum Bethune, the 7th rounder, hello. This draft class so far is cooking. So I like it. I love it. AJ says, please put Burford at tackle. Wasn't that his original position in college? Like, he's played them both, but in the NFL, they've trained him to be a guard. So there would be a little bit of a developmental lag, I guess, if they switch him out. I'm sure he could do it, but it's an option. They've talked about it before, but he, last 2 years, they've really said they've wanted to focus at Burford at that guard spot. But now with Puni at guard, maybe they can kick out Burford to tackle. It really depends, and if he can hold up. It's not easy to play tackle. And if you are going to play tackle, is he going to play right tackle? Is he going to play left tackle? Is it more natural one side than the other? So it's easy to say move Burford to tackle. I don't know. They'd have to start that now and kind of get that process going, because transitioning in the NFL, when you start moving positions, it's tough, especially if you've been really, really ingrained in one. I mean, I'm sure he can because he's done it in the past in other levels, but having that versatility in the NFL, it's a little different because you're going up against different types of players, a little bigger, faster, stronger. But it is, something that people have talked about many times. But again, shout out to Dominick Puni. He's really taking advantage of the opportunities, and now he gets to start, and it really kind of solidifies a little bit of your O line, not just for now, but the future. I don't know if they're going to sign Aaron Banks back next year. Who knows? Maybe Puni can take that role. Who again? Who knows? But this is a great start for Dominick Puni and his career. Now he's got to let it roll. He's got to let it keep continue and build off of it. But I have faith in him. He's played very well since he's been in with the 49ers. I mean, the guy is just, he's not letting up any pressures. I think one pressure in over 40 snaps at pass protection. The guy has been rock solid, man. That's exactly what you want. Hold your block, hold your base. Don't let any dirt on the quarterback. You get dirty, so the quarterback doesn't get dirty. That's what the job of an offensive lineman is, and he's doing just that. So um, Christian Martinez says, "Do you think Washington's going to pull the trigger on Ayuk now that they traded away their number 2 receiver?" Saw that they traded away Dotson to the Eagles. Woo! I don't think they will. I don't think they will. I was a little shook, but makes it a little interesting. I know a lot of people are speculating, will Washington get back into the fray of trading for Brandon Ayuk? I'm sure there's going to be a lot of rumors out there. I still think the 49ers are going to work towards figuring this out. Washington was bowed out of the trade a couple weeks ago, with Brandon Ayuk. I don't know if anything has changed, but back then it wasn't a go because they, weren't going to give up the assets the Niners wanted. And also, I don't know if they were going to be able to pay Brandon Ayuk what he wanted. So I'm not 100% sure on that situation. I'm sure the rumors are going to start mitigating again. But my thoughts were, I don't think they wanted to give up Terry McLaurin for Brandon Ayuk. So if they traded away another wide receiver, now I really don't think they're going to want to trade away Terry McLaurin because now he really is very important to them, even more so. So I don't think Washington is going to re-enter the Brandon Ayuk saga, but we shall see. Time will tell. So JR says, will Feliciano stay at the guard spot or compete for the center spot? I really think it depends on how they're doing when he returns. He's supposed to return mid-season. I could see him coming back for guard, but if Puni and Banks are holding it down and he's just going to be sitting on his hands and on the game, you want him in there because he's actually a very good lineman. So I could see if Brando's not, really anchoring down and being a sturdy center, I think they could move Feliciano back into that starting center spot. He can play it all, right? He's a very versatile guy. He's a Swiss Army knife. He's your new Dan Brunskill, right? He's a guy that can come in whatever position you need him to play. He can do it. So I think Feliciano's return is really going to be dictated on how the team is doing. By the time he returns mid-season, I mean, they're going to have a certain, flow. There's certain players that are going to be doing, pretty good, and you don't want to ruin that chemistry, especially on the O-line. It's all about chemistry, communication. You don't want to change that communication. So it really depends on who's doing good and who's doing bad on the O-line during that point. Or maybe someone's injured. If someone's injured, he could come in and take that role. Hopefully nobody's injured, but that's really going to be debated on or dependent on when, he comes back and how they're looking, how they're doing. If they all look terrible, yeah, put him where he needs to be. But if they're all looking pretty good, then it's going to be like, we don't want to ruin this rotation we have right now. So it all depends. That's a good question. So can I get a lift, Raj? Maybe later. I got to go see a patient in a few minutes. That's why I'm in the car. I dropped my daughter off to school. I got a patient right now. I usually don't have early morning patients anymore, but this patient needed to be seen in the morning. I'm about to head out in a few minutes. So who's our starting corners? Top shelf. I mean, I think right now, based on what I've heard, what I've seen, I got Diamo Lenore, I got Mooney Ward, and I got Renardo Green. I think Renardo Green's going to take a starting role. I know people are, that's crazy. He's a rookie. He's a second-round pick. You really think it's crazy for a second-round pick to not get a starting job? To get a starting job? I think Renardo Green, we got a dog. He's going to start. Wouldn't be surprised if they throw him out on the outside. We'll see. I mean, Lenore can do it all. But also, you got to remember, it's a contract year. The Niners might try to play Lenore a little bit inside, nickel him out, so he can save some money. See if Lenore is okay with that. But I think Renardo Green will be a starting cornerback. If not week 1, very soon. So, last question. I'll do 2 more questions. And let's see. We got, do you think Washington? No, Will Feliciano, we did that one. Do you think they're rushing Talanoa back too soon? No, actually, I don't. He was supposed to be cleared for individual drills. They're being very careful with them. Kyle Shanahan's saying, we don't want to rush him. The door's still open for him to be ready by week 1, but, there's no ramp up yet because he hasn't practiced. I think the 49ers are being very careful. They know they don't want to rush him coming off an ACL. They know what they have in Malik Mustafa. They know George Odom's, a very dependable player that could play for a few weeks if needed. Good veteran. I think that they're not rushing Talanoa Hufanga. I think they need to know they can take their time because they do have really good safeties on this team. Jair Brown, Malik Mustafa, George Odom, they're really good. They're really good. So I think they're doing a good job with that. So um, we all want him to return week one, but I don't think they're going to force him to play if he's not looking 100%. There's certain markers, there's certain tests, there's certain things you got to look for. Also, if the player returns from any injury and he's still having pain and swelling, it's not smart to put him in there. So the Niners are going to look into that stuff. So Rob in the Bay, Fools Rush it. Jesus, this is the last question. Tight end two, Eric Sauber. To me, he's tight end two. I think he's definitely earned it. He's been the best out of the other tight ends on the team. It's not saying a lot because these tight ends have not really done much. They've been kind of mid. But I will say Eric Sauber consistently has made plays. He's been a pretty good blocker compared to the rest of them. I mean, obviously he's not on George Kittle's level, but I think Eric Sauber is tight end too. After that, throw a dart on the board, and that's how your rest of your tight ends are going to be determined. I will say if they go more than two tight ends, which they usually do because they like to have linemen or tight ends that can act as extra linemen in the blocking game for the run scheme. I will say if they go three tight ends, I think Braden Willis is going to be that third tight end. He's got my vote. Cam Latu, maybe another year on the practice squad. He needs to figure it out. The rest of them ain't worth a blood nickel. I mean, I like Mason Peline, but he's definitely a guy that needs to be on the practice squad. Mason Peline, he has potential, but he needs more time to kind of learn the ropes. I got Mason Peline making the practice squad, but I think the three tight ends are going to be George Kittle, obviously, Eric Saubert, and Braden Willis. Y'all have a good rest of your day. I will talk to you later. And anyways, hey, shout out to Dominick Puni, huh? Can we get a round of applause for Dominick Puni, starting right guard, rookie? This is a good player. We got a gem. This draft class, man, fantastic. I love it. Y'all have a blessed day.